Here's more wrestling news for October 21st, 2022, and we're starting off with Bray Wyatt, and the former Universal Champion was on the verge of tears last week when cutting his emotional promo on Smackdown. Wyatt's promo fittingly headlined the October 14th edition of Smackdown, but the segment ended with a masked figure on the Titantron. Some fans in attendance were able to catch what happened after the show went off the air, as Wyatt was spotted leaving the ring and looking on with fans at the figure on the Titantron. Wyatt was also seen hastily leaving the arena through the crowd in a moment that must have thrilled the fans who got to see him up close. As previously reported, Wyatt will be exclusively on SmackDown moving forward, and outside of Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, expect the former Fiend to be the best booked superstar on the card. Since returning to WWE in late 2016, Bill Goldberg has had a handful of matches, typically at WrestleManias or WWE's Saudi Arabia events. Next month, we'll see WWE host their annual Crown Jewel show, but right now, it looks like the show will go ahead without an appearance by the former Universal Champion. Speaking on the Roman Atwood podcast, Goldberg discussed his WWE status and let everybody know that he only has 2 more months left on his current contract. The WWE Hall of Famer also relayed a fun story about how he was once told by Stephanie McMahon that he was no longer allowed to headbutt doors backstage. Stephanie came up to me backstage one night and said, "I heard you've been headbutting the doors." I'm like, "Yeah, that's how I got to be me." She goes, "I don't want you headbutting any more doors." I wanted to make sure that I was following her orders. They knock on my door, wham! I punched the door and broke my hand. I never told them about it. So then what am I gonna do? Time out, it's freaking live television. So I punched the door. They're on the other side of the door. They don't know what's going on. I wear these gloves, right? So fortunately, I grabbed my glove and pulled my hand back out so I can move it. And I go, "Okay, let's go to the ring." So I went to the ring, I grabbed the rope, and I fell. And it was the night Steve Austin and I met for the first time, I think, and we did the beer bash. With 2 more months left on his contract, WWE hasn't got a lot of time to hash out a new deal, so we'll have to see if Goldberg has any more matches or appearances down the line, and if a new agreement is reached. As WrestleMania 38 proved, there are a ton of fans who love seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin raise some hell, even after nearly 2 decades since retiring from full-time competition. Last year, Peacock purchased the rights to a cartoon all about the Texas Rattlesnake, but that show hasn't hit screens just yet. On Barstool's KFC Radio, comedian Don Soder detailed how he pitched the Stone Cold cartoon to Peacock and why the series is taking so long to come out. "We're going through some bullshit right now, and hopefully me saying it publicly will kind of push it through, or it'll just completely the deal, but at this point, I don't give a During the pandemic, Dan St. Germain, a fellow comedian, and I wrote a show with Stone Cold Steve Austin that was a cartoon, and we sold it to Peacock. But now the WWE and Peacock are bullshit. It's been 17 months on the sidelines, and I keep calling these being like, this is gonna be funny. And Stone Cold is completely on board. We developed the show with him, not the WWE. I don't want to give away too much because that's what we're dealing with WWE right now. We're kind of like, don't take our show and do it yourself because you're gonna make it corny. It's dark and weird, that's why Stone Cold liked it. He loves it, and the WWE was like, well, we want to be creatively involved, and we're like, no, we want to write the show. And Peacock bought it because they liked the show, and it's just been in gridlock. While Austin is fully on board with the show, WWE have made things complicated, but that won't stop Soder fighting to see his creation drink some beers and raise some hell on Peacock. We've got some sad news now as AEW's lead video engineer Brian Muster has died. Muster had been with AEW since their very first event back in 2019 and had produced some of the best videos for the company before his passing. There's no word on what caused Muster's death, but a GoFundMe set up for his family has already surpassed $70,000, including a $15,000 donation by AEW president Tony Khan. Muster is survived by his fiancée and 2 young children, and we'd like to offer our deepest condolences to everyone who knew Brian at this difficult time. Next January, Monday Night Raw will reach their historic 30th anniversary, far surpassing any other wrestling show on TV. The Red Brand has seen plenty of iconic and infamous moments over the near 3 decades, and plans for the show are already in motion. According to WrestleVotes, WWE has already began putting together plans for the show, with one idea floated around for Raw to be at the Manhattan Center, the same venue as Raw Episode 1. Like all WWE programming, it'll be Triple H who decides who and what makes it onto the 30th anniversary Raw, and the game has been part of plenty of iconic Raw moments himself. From Austin vs. Tyson to the Festival of Friendship, Raw has hosted some of wrestling's most iconic moments, so we'll have to see what makes it on the card next January. Now, Impact Wrestling has seen a lot of superstars come and go in recent years, thanks in part to the rise of AEW. Impact has a ton of alumni in the pro wrestling world, and now one ex-WWE superstar is heading back to the company. PW Insider has learned that PJ Black, the former Justin Gabriel, is returning to Impact Wrestling and will be at this weekend's television tapings. Black made several appearances for Impact in 2015 when Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling tried to invade, and is a former GFW Next Gen champion and TNA King of the Mountain champion. There's no word on what Impact has planned for Black, but the 41-year-old has a ton of talent in the ring, and his veteran mindset will no doubt be useful to the current roster in the company. Over to AEW now, as Paul Wight has been with the company for over a year, but has only had 4 matches for the company. Wight's one and only pay-per-view appearance for AEW was at AEW All Out 2021, but fans eager to see him back in the ring will be waiting for quite a while. During his most recent Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross confirmed that Wight underwent hip surgery recently and has had to use a walker to get around. Ross added that while Wight is kind of beat up, he's confident that the former WWE champion will have more matches, but he's got to get healthy first. Wight's part-timer schedule was a factor in his decision to leave WWE and end his time as the Big Show, as he felt he was being underutilized by the company. His most recent match came on the April 4th, 2022 edition of AEW Dark Elevation, where he defeated Austin Green, and we're wishing the Giant a speedy recovery after this most recent surgery. Now, it's been many years since Darren Young parted ways with WWE after previously being part of the Nexus and later the Primetime Players. Since then, Young has worked under real name Fred Rosser and is the reigning New Japan Strong Openweight champion, but hasn't forgotten where he came from. With his similar facial features to a certain ex-WWE champion, Rosser has been jokingly called the Black John Cena in the past, and while on Insider's Edge, said he's thinking about dressing up as Big Match John. If he goes through with it, Rosser could don his finest khakis and sneakers for New Japan's Halloween show, which will take place in New York on October 27th. The event, titled The Night Before the Rumble, will see some of New Japan Strong's best and brightest stars, but Rosser could be the one who steals the show if he dons Cena's attire. Last November, WWE cut Frankie Monet from her contract, and the former NXT superstar has since gone back to using the name fans know her best for, Taya Valkyrie. Recently, WWE filed a very interesting trademark similar to Taya's name, as WWE now has the right to use Lyra Valkyria, leaving some to speculate that she could be back. Sitting down with Wrestling Inc., Valkyrie spoke about her time with WWE and said that coming back to the company with Triple H running creative isn't out of the question. At first, it was just shocking and I was upset and I was mad because I still don't feel like I got an opportunity to shine. And there were a lot of things that were completely out of my control, obviously, such as the pandemic. It really sucks because I didn't get that chance to work one-on-one with Paul, Triple H, or Shawn Michaels on a regular basis. And I just wish that I'd gotten that opportunity as well. So I definitely now would be like, never say never. You never know, but the universe always has a plan. Speaking about whether WWE will want her back, Taya said how she has faith in her work ethic and what she brings to the table. Almost immediately after her WWE release, Taya returned to AAA and has worked for Impact and MLW since then, but with this trademark, we can't count out the former Frankie Monet back in WWE. Before becoming arguably the most popular female superstar of all time, Becky Lynch made her name in NXT before her eventual call-up in 2015. Lynch never held the NXT Women's Championship, but did become a very popular star of the brand and is very impressed with what she's seeing today. Speaking during New York City's Advertising Week, Lynch spoke about the current crop of female NXT talent, calling them the future of WWE. Lynch added that the athleticism shown in the Gold brand is skills that never in a million years I would be capable of, and that the roster has engaging characters. WWE's main roster have plenty of success stories from NXT graduates, as stars including Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair all once called the Gold brand home. As for the current roster, the likes of Cora Jade, Nikita Lyons, Toxic Attraction, and Roxanne Perez have shown a ton of promise, and the future certainly looks bright as far as Lynch is concerned. And we're ending today with The Butcher, who has been with AEW since November 2019, and like many on the roster, has a good working relationship with Tony Khan. During a panel at the Ohio Fan Fest, Butcher spoke about Khan and said that one of the best things the AEW president does is allow people to fail. Explaining his point, Butcher said how failure isn't the opposite of success, but just a part of success, and is a stepping stone that you need to cross in order to get towards your goal. Butcher and Blade have yet to hold gold in AEW and have become best known as Guns for Hire, and no matter what the future brings, the Butcher is pleased to be working under Tony Khan. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.